Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the confusion of faith brothers joined unto our ranks, the hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are actually listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is a video called Birth of White Supremacist Nation with Dr. Jacqueline Badalora. I've profiled this video in the past. This was on the this particular show was on Philip Shock Matthews, and this was a shock to a lot of people. This doctor right here is also a former police officer and a lawyer. It's a pretty sharp chick here. She just Psalm 64:8 on this video all day, exposing Esau, and that's the problem. What this video did was help to remove the veil of Esau, Edom. And it also is going to give you the time, date, and place where the Edomites begin to refer to themselves as European and that sort of thing. And even more so when they labeled themselves white people. All right. And the veil being lifted because through the Bible, through research, through history, through scripture, we're able to determine beyond a shadow of a doubt 144% that Esau, Edom is indeed the people who refer to themselves white as today. And that is the problem with people like Alex Jones and Kaitlyn Bennett. Okay, I'm not sure if it's Kaitlyn with an I or Kaitlyn with the W. I mean with the Y or an I. It doesn't matter. She's a lying low-life Edomite, regardless of however her name is spelled. But nevertheless, the veil has been revealed. It's been lifted, and it's been revealed that the so-called white man is indeed Esau, Edom. It's written in so many of their books, so many of their historical documents. And the most important historical document, which is the Bible, identifies Esau, Edom through prophecy and through description. And no one fits those prophecies or those descriptions better than the so-called white man. So without any further ado, we're going to let some of this video play, and then I'm going to read some scriptures that's going to determine their guilt.
In 1664, which was before Bacon's Rebellion, there was some resistance to the marriage of a person of African descent and a European, but it didn't come from the masses. It came from the ruling elite in Maryland. And here's the other historical piece to fold in here to help that make sense. There were roughly 10 to 12 men for every woman. So an incredible gender imbalance. And here's what else we know. We know that it was not uncommon for a British woman to choose to marry even an enslaved man of African descent over one of these British or other European men. So the ruling elite responded, and so they passed a law. I believe it is the first anti-miscegenation law, but here's the caveat. White people didn't exist yet. So in 1664, the language of the law is British and other freeborn women who enter into a marriage with an enslaved Negro man, is the language of the law, is punished. And here's what happens. She is enslaved for the duration of her husband's life. Any children that they have are enslaved into their 20s. And they say, the lawmakers say in the dicta of the law that the purpose for this law is to discourage these, quote, shameful matches. But that experience of those matches as shameful, there is not a shred of evidence of that interpretation or that experience of the marriages among the masses.
What I'm hearing it's fascinating. I'm hearing that there is a white supremacy, if not the term, a racist slant or attitude that was either beginning to develop or had developed, as well as an innate jealousy of not being able to have access to the women of the land, and you're supposed to be the ruling class, the 1%. And so, and we're dealing with men now. We're talking about white men that, thin-skinned, insecure, unfortunately rich, have power of the law, and want to insulate and isolate themselves from any level of rebellion, and to not have any, I guess, shame or someone of a lower class be able to compete with them.
Yes. Well, here there's actually verbatim language in, again, the dictum of the law that reveals that they viewed. I mean, I think we have to be careful about some of the language we use. It certainly lays the roots of what will become viewed as race later on, truthfully, in the 20th century. But at this time, what we know for sure is that the British ruling elite viewed the British as deserving, in fact, I'm quoting from the law, deserving of rights and privileges from which others can be denied. So that idea of the British that they had of themselves easily accommodated viewing this new invented group of humanity called white people, which we haven't explained yet, but it went easily into that used for that group to explain their special status relative to others. So in this law of 1664, they also said that the purpose of this law was to discourage those marriages, but that's not what happened at all, because landholders get richer if the marriages occur. They were encouraging the marriages, and that's exactly what happened. So it's not until 1681 that the Maryland lawmakers amend the law of 1664, and here, this law of 1681 represents the first use in law of the label white to reference a group of humanity.
So with that, right to the scripture. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So Esau Edom labeled himself white, and then this whole race thing was created. These false social constructs which were created by them, this whole black and white thing. All right, and through the scriptures, through the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles on down to the cadet that's on the other side of the line that believes and shows up to camp. All right. The alarm is being rang throughout the world with the Israelites, all right, in Costa Rica, in Africa, other parts of South America, in the islands, in Australia, in Germany, all right, all around the world, in Hawaii, in the Philippines. The scattered Israelites are waking up, and this is disturbing and frightening to them, and they're reading from the Bible. And then you got people like Alex Jones and Kaitlyn Bennett, or Alex Jones' real name is Bill Hicks. That should be enough to make him look. Why do you not go by your real name when you have a syndicated talk show? Okay? Because Esau is always trying to hide, but now he is made available, and he is guilty of these crimes that I'm about to read. And this is what it is. Esau does not want to be held accountable for what they did and how Bill Hicks and Kaitlyn Bennett benefit from what their forefathers did to this day. They don't want to acknowledge that they've benefited from these crimes. Okay? This is Exodus 21:16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. That is not the words of the Hebrew Israelites. That is the words of the Most High Power, who they ignorantly called God or Jesus. Okay? Are not we still found in their hands, under their system, unable to leave, unable to do anything? All right? We're still in their hands. This is Deuteronomy 24:7. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is indeed our brethren. They're our wicked, evil brother, but they're still our brothers. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, Jacob and Esau came from the same sperm line and came out of the same womb. Although it tells you clearly in the scriptures that they will be two separate nations, two different people. But technically they are still brothers, even though they are complete opposites of one another. Hence the reason why you're looking at Jacqueline Badalore and her red flesh. All right? She's without her melanin. That was a mark put upon Edom, so that you will be able to identify them through the nation, through the years, through the generations. And then we make our way to 1681, and they label themselves white. All right? And if you look at her flesh is closer to her shirt than it is to the panel on the wall behind her. Right over her right shoulder, behind her ear there. You can see on the wall the whiteness. Let's see if I can point to it on the screen there. Right there. That strip of wood on the wall is white. She is nowhere near that color. She is somewhere in between. All right? Red and white make pink. Okay? And you can see the redness of her flesh. I imagine if she gets sick, if someone was to strike her, she's to get embarrassed, she would turn rosy red. Okay? Deuteronomy 23:7. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and make of merchandise of him, the transatlantic slave trade, which started with the so-called natives of the islands and of South America. And in many cases, they were sold on the same ships and shipped on the same ships as their other brethren, which came from the west coast of Africa. To make of merchandise of him or sell of him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put away evil from among you. These are the judgments of the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Wa Abba Babal.